All right, guys, let's talk about the abortion issue. I am a very strong advocate for children to be allowed to be born. And what I want to talk about is what we're seeing in the culture right now. We are seeing, and I'm not going to mention names, although I'm not afraid to name this person, but I'm just not going to right now. Is we're seeing a lot of famous people talk about women's rights. And in the name of women's rights, it's being allowed to a conversation's being allowed that it's okay for a woman to have the right to kill her baby. Not only is this shameful, in years ago, many women were very ashamed to talk about this, but now it's being celebrated. One particular woman, I will not mention her name, I'm sure you all can figure it out. Yes, she is a beautiful woman. And yes, she is an actress and she is famous on social media with her husband. But the problem I'm having, and I just looked up some of her videos, and I'm not someone who follows worldly philosophy. I do believe that we do need to understand to a point where people stand, but I don't believe in racism, so this is not about being racist. This is about the doctrine that certain people carry. I have seen famous women talk about how much they love children and how they love being a mother, but then they are also okay with killing babies. And this is pretty scary. This is pretty deceptive because what's going on, and it's dangerous, is you have these people who look like they have it all. They have beauty, they have money, they have fame, but the doctrine they are carrying is to stand for women's rights and to stand for those rights so far as to think it's okay to kill a baby. And we have a lot of women here in my circles who are very good women. They may not have all that beauty, they may not have all that money, but they do know the truth. And to think it's okay to kill a baby in the name of women's rights is just sickening. So, women's rights, yes, I do feel that women in other countries who have been impoverished should have the ability to have a job, to be able to work, be able to provide income for themselves, which we have that right, which is great. But I do not believe a woman's right is ever to kill babies. So, if it's such a diabolical doctrine that women are carrying to believe this. And so, if we saw a woman right now, let's say head shaved, uglied herself up, very ugly, and she was carrying around this doctrine that it's okay to kill a baby, we would definitely be like, that's disgusting. But what we've done is we've elevated beauty so high in our American lives that anyone who is good looking, they are considered very privileged. I mean, there is an economy with beauty, basically. And I was brought up with some of this myself. I did have privilege over some women because of how I looked. And, when we put equality or equity into a woman's looks, we are really being deceived. It is great for women to take care of themselves, to look good, to be happy, to be nurturing toward children, to be supportive of their husbands, and to love their husbands in a healthy marriage. But and even have huge families. I believe in huge families. But what we're seeing in our culture is a worship of beauty. We're seeing beauty be so elevated that women can do basically anything that they want as long as they have the beauty and the fame to get away with it. And they can say whatever they want. And we are actually talking about, in many cases, that this worldly philosophy is like right from demons, right from the pit of hell. So when we have others who are being used to promote this doctrine, I think we need to keep our eyes open and understand what exactly this is. Yes, there are people who are lost and they don't really understand. They made a mistake with abortion. They don't really understand all the in and outs of abortion. But when we have people who have a public voice and they're on many platforms and they're talking about it's okay to kill children, we have a problem. And this is where a lot of us need to stand up and say this is not okay. We don't care how beautiful you are. We don't care how much money you make. We don't care who you are associated with. But when you are willing to promote killing a baby in the name of women's rights, we now have a problem. And a lot of this stuff is political too. A lot of people are being used to politically do things. So, for example, you know, years ago, even think of war. You fight in a war, you fight. We are not fighting so much now, I think, as much in wars as we are against principalities and certain beliefs. We have a battle going on. So if we do not stand up and say, this is wrong, what you're saying, doesn't matter who it is, it's wrong, we are going to lose our future generation. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.